Okay, so the other day I was reading my Bible and I only got through 2 verses. And what God showed me out of these 2 verses was absolutely mind-blowing. Well, for me it was. So I was reading Matthew chapter 13, verses 1 and 2. And I read the Amplified. And it states, "That same day Jesus went out of the house and was sitting beside the Sea of Galilee. Such large crowds gathered around him that he got into a boat and sat there, positioning himself as a teacher while the whole crowd stood on the shore." And that doesn't seem like something huge and profound would come out of it, because it's like this is the precursor to the big, amazing miracles that Jesus does all the time. But then I started, really praying, because for some reason these just gripped me. And you read it, that same day Jesus went out of the house and was sitting beside the Sea of Galilee. So most people would think, oh, he was just, sitting, went out of the house, went down to chill by the Sea of Galilee, just to sit there and look out at the Sea of Galilee. Right? No. So here's the thing. Back in the day, and I don't know if in present day synagogues they do this or not, but back in the day, in the synagogues, when the rabbi got ready to begin teaching, he sat down and everybody else stood up. The students, everybody listening to the rabbi during the teaching, whether it be on the Sabbath or the daily readings or whatever, the rabbi would sit down. So Jesus goes out and sits by the Sea of Galilee. He's sitting. The way he is sitting is letting people know that he's getting ready to start teaching. And we can see that because in verse 2, it says, "Such large crowds gathered around him that he got into a boat and sat there, positioning himself as a teacher," is in brackets, positioning himself as a teacher. What did he do though? He sat down. He reaffirmed that status of a teacher by sitting down to position himself as a teacher once again, even once he got on the boat, while the whole crowd stood on the shore. Now here was my next question. I was like, well, God, why didn't he just go back to his house and get up on the roof? No, Jesus got on the boat and got on the water. If you have ever been to a lake, I live in Kansas. We have lakes. That's what we do that's what we do on the weekend. We go to the lake. We go fishing. You can yell across the lake and people will hear you. Why? Because the air above the water is slightly cooler than the rest of the air because it is cooled by the water surface itself. Now, sound also reflects off of water because water is too dense for the sound waves of your voice to travel through it. So it reflects and goes off in different directions. Jesus literally got on a boat knowing that the water would amplify his voice, because the reason that the crowds were coming and pushing on him, he didn't do it because he wanted space. He did it because people could not hear him. That's why they were pushing in on him. So he gets on a boat not because he needs a space, but so he could amplify his voice so everybody else could hear him. To make sure that everybody that was in the crowd that was present at the time could hear his voice. Now, I was driving along today and I was like, God, that was just so profound how you showed me that. That was just so cool. And then he said, go to Genesis chapter 1, verse 2 and 3. Shall we? Genesis chapter 1, verse 2, and the first couple words out of 3 out of the Amplified Version. The earth was formless and void, or a waste and emptiness, and darkness was upon the face of the deep, primeval ocean that covered the unformed earth. The Spirit of God was moving, hovering, and brooding over the face of the waters. The what? The waters. Verse 3. And God said. God spoke over the waters, over the face of the deep where his Spirit hovered when he created creation, amplifying his voice. And his voice already sounds like that of many waters. Can you imagine how amazingly loud his voice was when "and God said"? Oh my gosh. To me, that was absolutely mind-blowing that not only in Matthew did Jesus, and all throughout the Gospels, multiple times he gets in a boat. Why? Because he's amplifying his voice so that way the crowds could hear him. And then God refers me all the way back to creation, chapter 1, verse 2, and the beginning of verse 3, where there was nothingness, and the Spirit of God was hovering over the face of the waters, and God said. God spoke and amplified his voice over the waters of nothingness in order to create creation. Mind blown. That was absolutely stunning for me. When he teaches me something, and when God, Jesus, the Holy Spirit, when everybody is just in this beautiful sync and they teach me these things, I don't want to keep it to myself. I want to be able to share it with people. And that's what I want to be able to do, is I just want to be able to share what he teaches to me with you. I appreciate your time. I hope this was a blessing to you. God bless. Have a wonderful day. If you do need prayers, please private message me or feel free to leave something in the comments. Have a wonderful day.